and all kind of stuff, but you chose to be here, so I first just want to say thank y'all for coming out tonight. And you are definitely in for a treat, for sure, in terms of getting your mind. Like we get so much, in Ubud there's so much exercises of a lot of aspects of our physical movement. We often travel dealing with meditations, there's healing sessions, there's all these things that deal with that'll take you away from the ground. And then it's so much of it, you don't really hear too much about, things that just get your mind working and thinking in different ways and shifting into new perspectives. Not much of that happens. And so when it does, it's a blessing to support it and come in and soak some of that up, that other aspect of food that we need for our journeys, right? All right, for those who do not know me, my name is Kamal, and can I get just a little bit here on my monitor for this, please? Like a little bit. Thank you. My name is Kamal, and I live here in Ubud. I've been in Bali, though, based for 10 years. Hello. For the last 10 years, I'm from San Francisco, California. And I just want to tell you a little bit on how this particular moment came to be. Let's just say when I was 20. When I was 20 years old, I came across a book called The Raw Materials, also known as The Law of One. I was just in my neighborhood, there's a bookstore, and I was just browsing one day, and this particular book just grabbed my attention. I was starting to learn about metaphysics at that time and about specifically Kemetic spirituality, and so this book, Raw, just jumped out at me, so I picked it up. And as I was flipping through this particular book, it was like the information was so potent that I sat and read the whole book in that one sitting. Like I didn't stop and I read the whole book. And if you're not, who here is familiar with the raw materials at all? A few people. Okay. For those who do not know, it is, and Scott will go into it a little bit more later on, but basically it is information that has been channeled from a sixth density source. And it's, in terms of channeling the channeled information that is out there, in my opinion, based on what I've read, it is the top tier. And when I was 20 years old, I didn't know it at the time, but my spirit just kept me flowing through this particular book. And it's a very, very dense book. It's pretty much question, answer through these series of 5 books. And I sat and I read the first one, and then I came back the next day and I read the second one. And then there was a book 3, which I bought all 3. I didn't finish book 3. I got into a bunch of other stuff too, but book 2 and 1, I soaked up really quickly, even though I didn't fully understand it. 6. Spiral 8 years forward, and I've now started learning more about spirituality and metaphysics and the different terminology that is being spoken about in this particular book. And I come back to the book, The Law of One Materials, and now things start to make sense. I'm like, oh, wow, okay, that's what it's talking about. That's some of the things that it's speaking to. More studies. Recent time, I'm bringing it up a little bit closer. So about, I guess, November that just passed, these materials have come around again in my life. And so as they came back around, and as opposed to just reading or whatever, I just wanted to see if there was anything online that was, people speaking about the law of all materials. I found, Carla Rucker. These books are written by Carla Rucker, Don Elkins, and Jim McCartney. These were the 3 that had this channeling session that brought forth these particular books. And I looked online. I found some talks on Carla Rucker. She was speaking on certain things, and that's when I came across Scott Mandelker's page or his channel, his YouTube channel, and he basically has commentary of the entire Law of One series. So he's gone from book 1 until, I don't know if you've completed all 5 yet, but you're on book number 4 or something.
Session 28 on there.
Session 28. No? There's 250 videos on there, on his channel. And most of them are an hour long, at least. And so I just started listening to him. And part of my morning routine, when I'm in the shower, I just have it playing on the speakers and I'm listening to him talk, and I'm just like, wow, this stuff is really potent commentary. He takes the very dense material and simplifies it and breaks it down. And not only breaks it down, he also brings a Buddhist perspective to it, a Taoist perspective to it, and a perspective that even the questioners themselves didn't really dive deep into. And so for me, it was just like, wow, it was great because it was a new perspective.
Second book called Universal Vision after year 2000. So I did teaching in Japan and on and off for about 15 years, all around the country. Many wanderers there, many spiritual folks there, and a very neurotic and crazy culture also. And complicated, wonderful and complicated and strange. If you've been to Japan, it's really a trip. And basically started doing private practice since about 1990, and did personal counseling from 1990 to now, about 25 years. I don't have a license, but I have degrees. Whatever, all right? Basically, my counseling center gave me an ultimatum in 1990. And they said, your clients like you. I'm in an internship, in a master's program, Ph.D. program. Your clients like you, but your supervisor doesn't know what you're doing. So you need to go back into your own therapy and learn how it's done and the right way of talking about it, or else you can't stay at this counseling center. Which means you can't get a license. Which means you're on your own, you have your degree, but you have no license, and you can't say you're a psychologist, psychiatrist. You can't even say you're a counselor legally. And you can't carry insurance and da-da-da-da-da. So that was my Saturn return, right? Around 1991, 92, age 30, Saturn return. If you're around age 28, 29, age 28, 32, you should expect trouble. That's important, that's real. Anyway, whenever somebody gives me an ultimatum, I immediately say bye-bye, and that was the end of that. So I went off on my own, and all my clients came with me, and the supervisor still didn't know what I was doing, but that was just fine. So, long story short, I've been teaching about soul evolution and cosmic plan since the early 90s. I was on Jeff Rent's show and did David Wilcock is my friend. Mr. David Wilcock got his start from me, actually. He came to a conference and had a session with me and said, what should I do with my life? And I said, you should write and teach. You have a lot to say. And he said, oh. And so, this is my Dhamma, my Dharma, to do this work. And so, I teach or offer what's interesting to me and what I've learned. And discernment is really important. And I don't want to waste my time, and I don't want to waste your time. And I don't want to be fooled by foolish teachers. Not you, but there are many foolish teachers or immature teachers. There are many Buddhist teachers who are embroiled in scandal, if you haven't noticed, in the Zen tradition, in the Tibetan tradition. Shockingly, some great, great masters, Kalu Rinpoche, right? What the hell, this woman June Campbell talking about sexual abuse from Kalu Rinpoche. What's going on here? This is serious. This is terrible. So be careful. I was in Daibusatsu Zendo, Edo Roshi, Japanese guy with a big hara. Many claims of sexual abuse from women for 20 years. He was thrown out by the board of directors. He was good to me, but that was in 1982, So be careful. I think we should be clear-minded. So, anyway, let me check. Tonight, we can talk about soul evolution and cosmic plan in an introductory way. The basis is some of the advanced metaphysics of the raw material, an understanding of seven-dimensional creation, the paths of polarity or soul evolution, positive and negative. Buddhism, there are devas and asuras, right? The Islamic traditional understanding about jinn and bad. Those bad people are in my life. And so you didn't create, you're not responsible for their mind or their behavior, but you're responsible for them in your life. We are responsible for, I'm responsible for you in my life. You're responsible, we are responsible for our parents in our life. You think you just appeared out of nowhere? Don't you think that do you really believe in multiple dimensions? You should know what you believe, It's good to know what you believe and what you don't believe. But actually, the theory, the view of soul, multiple dimensions, reincarnation, and karma, is that you were quite conscious before you were born. And before you were born, you knew your karmic carryover or load from past lives. And that's the basis for choosing all sorts of catalysts. It's called programmed catalyst, and Ra talks about that too. We choose our parents. We choose the genetics. We may modify them even. But the genetics and the family and the location and the opportunities, these things are mainly determined before birth. Now, you don't have to believe that. And like Ra said again, they said, we offer truth without proof. And so that's the case with metaphysics. It may be truth, but there is no proof. And so the best we can do would be truth without proof. So anybody who says prove it, I say, sorry, can't. If you want proof, go to the Mr. Scientist down the street. But, and that's the problem, is that there's so many views, right? In Buddhism, there's a discussion of 4 stages of awakening. Do you know what awakening means? There are many views. People think, I had a beautiful experience yesterday, I had an awakening. That's cool, but, there are other views about the purpose of human life or the nature of the spiritual path. It's good to know what we know and what we don't know. These are all dynamics of soul evolution. So the basic view is, let me drink a cup of tea, please. The basic view is, planet Earth is a school for souls who have not yet learned to love. You can see it everywhere around, right? It's pretty obvious. That's why they keep deceptive, lying, evil, perverse leaders in power generation after generation. Because human morality is very confused. Because they haven't yet learned to love. Meaning, they haven't developed 4th ray, anahatta. There's lower chakra blockage, distortions, selfishness, confusion, lack of seeking, lack of discernment. Gautama talked about that. Gautama said, I did a talk on karma. I did a lot of talks on karma, but one of them was talking about what leads to discernment and what leads to no discernment. Discernment, quality of mind, is an effect of causes. It's a consequence. It's a result. It's an effect. Cause and effect. What are the causes that give birth to discernment? Who can really figure out truth? Who can really know truth? You need discernment. What are the causes of discernment? Gautama, Buddha, said, basically going to the wise and the worthy and asking what's to my long-term betterment and what is not, what will be skillful and what is not, what's the right way and what's not. Tell me about the path. Going to those, or seeking to learn, and asking those who are wise and worthy meaning virtuous and wise meaning developed, meaning spiritual seeking. That is the way leading to discernment. And humanity as a whole doesn't have very good discernment, obviously, right? They keep getting shocked by the scandal du jour. Why? Because they thought, I thought Woody Allen was a good guy, right? I thought there's a lot of stuff. I don't want to tell you things, but there are a lot of leaders that are not quite virtuous, my friends. And I don't want to offend you, but there are some famous. I feel sad. I feel alienated. I feel hurt that I'm living in the world with those people who are hurting the world. Some of your judgment is based in clear perception. So you have to accept that. If you hate yourself for your judgment, you'll never get out of it. So you have to accept your judgment, accept your shadow, accept your negativity, love your hate. Love your hate. And don't stay there, and don't stop there. So if you accept your hate, also you accept that you don't want to get stuck there. I don't want to be a hateful person, but I feel hate. I don't want to walk around judging, but you know I don't judge everybody. If I see a cat, I don't judge that cat. If I see a child, I don't judge that child. I see a smiling child, I feel happy. So it's not that I'm hating. I hate that. I judge that. Why that? Because there's ignorance, there's harm. They keep electing these fuckers, you know, that destroy every nation, right? There's some clear perception in my hate judgment. And I don't want to get stuck there too. But I want to see the truth. Some of what I see in my judgment is true. And some of it is just my pain. What pain? The pain to be here with them, the pain that I'm not with my beloved community, the pain that I have to live with the consequences of their ignorance and their negative action. The pain, but underneath that, I chose to be here now. And I knew what I was getting into, but I forgot that I knew it. That I forgot that I knew what I was getting into before I came here. Jump in. That's why I'm talking this way, of course. You need to talk into the mic. Or turn it on. We need to take a break, I know. So maybe you'll be last question, then every question, but... Huh? No, ask now, because you're right there.
I think it's a long...
Oh, it's a long one. Okay. Yeah, we really... Well, yeah, we need to take a break. So please, you'll be the first question on the other side. Okay, so we'll take a 15-minute break.
10 minutes.
10-minute break.
So we'll take 10 and get a fresh air, drink, whatever you need to do, then we'll be back in 10 minutes.
Okay, so we'll be back in 10. You're freezing? I'm hot. Yeah, you see, it's very... Maybe you should move places, because I think you're in... What's that? Oh, really? I'm really hot.
My face, yes, I know I'll exist after death. And I'll stand before pearly gates as they open. The voice from within will be big and booming on some Morgan Freeman type and be like, welcome my child. And I'll smile and respectfully decline. My spirit's touched beyond heaven, there's a grander design. That voice will be like, hell is the only other choice you have for yourself. And as I float up and away, I'll say heaven and hell only exist for those who can't perceive anything else. And a few spirits standing outside the gates begin to rise and follow me out of curiosity. And curiosity can never kill a cat, he knows he cannot die. Just as conformity can't sit with those who see the lie. And a few spirits inside the gates will begin to rise and follow me out of boredom, and we'll rise up, and all this is just a future deja vu. That moment begins with this one, a moment of rising up, but it's not rising up against anything but one's own inspired thoughts, void to the relevance of a paradigm shift, a shift to the consciousness that recognizes we don't have to get free, we just have to be free. The greatest trick the devil pulled was convincing us someone else holds the key. As a woman knows, so she be. As a child showeth, so we'll see. The infinite possibilities to explore. The infinite possibilities to explore. Always choose the magic door. Let's welcome back to the stage Scott.
Mandelker. Okay. The person who, the lady, did you want to ask your question? Maybe microphone or just talk loud? Just a second, because she was gonna. Then you.
Got any sauce for that?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I'm still troubled with the concept of the field that was taken away.
Talk a little louder, please.
I'm still like thinking about that field that was put over the earth, because before everyone was like full of love. Maybe they were a little bit lazy, but I think like that doesn't matter if they're already, they're already there. Why would the creator want to experience and expand if it's already like whole? And I'm troubled.
Okay. This is not the same as the idea that Earth has been surrounded by some negative net or net from negative ETs that prevent us from evolving. It's not that some field, it's not like a field was put into Earth or this particular planet. The idea is the reality of the two paths, or the possibility of evil, didn't really exist before this veil was the mind that we're using associated with the third dimensional body on this planet and many other planets, not just this planet. And for a long, long time, it's not new, and it's not an ET thing, negative ET or Orion. It's not their doing. It's the doing of the creator of the creator of the seven-dimensional systems that came later in the process of creation. I mean, we're talking about a long, long time ago. I think the idea is that infinite love wants to, infinity with infinite love, wished to explore the totality of its being. And the ignorance of those who go without love, who believe that they're just a body, and controlling other people, and controlling worlds, and destroying, and doing harm. That consciousness is so alien, it's so foreign, it's so different from the source that allowed that to be, whose nature, whose nature is. Now, it can also be, that's not always the case, it can also be that, that soul, as a child, itself created the karmic roots that led to that kind of illness, or even early death. In Gautama's teaching, Buddhist teaching, Buddha's original teaching about karma, the idea is that the way leading to short life or chronic illness is a certain established karma of harming others with body, beating others. And so the karma of being physically violent leads to the karmic action of physical violence, often leads to the karmic result of sickness and illness and premature death. The way leading to shortened life, the way leading to infirmity or chronic illness, is basically chronic harming of others, particularly by body in terms of force or hurting, harming. That's the karmic root of chronic illness and a shortened life in general. But again, there are cases where that would also serve as a catalyst for the parent to maybe open their heart by grief. that may, so we're having two things, right? There are high souls that take on a painful experience as a sacrifice to the other souls that are involved in their relationship, so that they may use that as catalyst for their own advancement, which really means softening a hard heart of the parents. It happens sometimes. You see a very angry man or woman, parent, father or mother, with a retarded child, mentally, physically infirm child. Now, that could be either, but if you see that the parent can't love, and they really become more of a bad parent in the face of the disability of the child, then it's probably that both of them have bad karma. On the other hand, if the parent's heart is broken and they end up being a more loving person, it may be more likely that that other soul chose to take on the illness, and then take the illness as catalyst for the parent. And so, this is also the catalyst, the karma, or the catalyst of death, right? Like Princess Diana. I wrote about this in my second book. Princess Diana, in my view, was a wanderer who chose to be born in the heart of evil in the royal family, or be born into a situation where she would enter into one of the layers of profound evil on planet Earth, the royal family of Britain. They are really black. I don't mean black skin, I mean black heart. There are really bad things going on there. The author, well, I don't want to get into it, but you can imagine if you know. David Icke talks about this, and he's right. She, a very pure soul, chose to be born into a situation where she would end up there. Why? So that they would kill her. Why? So that the great love of millions, hundreds of millions of people around the planet would be liberated upon the grief at her passing. The love of hundreds of millions for her was liberated in the grieving for her death, which was a murder, obviously. So there's a wanderer who comes in for the purpose of being killed, so that that would be a catalyst for the planet, for millions, hundreds of millions of people to pour out love for the purpose of helping the planet in this adjustment phase and helping them further their own evolution. That's the kind of thing. That's a kind of plan that in my view, that's the way higher self makes some plans. It's strange, but actually, I think that's the way it works. Because the purpose of the cause is the nature of the consequence. If the cause is well used as catalyst, it's the consequence that was the reason that occurred. The reason for the cause is the ideal achievement of a consequence. So anyway, does that answer your question? Okay, good, thanks. Okay.
How are the individuals related to that?
And that's going to get worse. This is, things will not get better until dimensional shift, in my view. Don't expect reform and social justice and harmony and wellness and the spread of the happy new age, eco, green, yada yada, before dimensional shift. It is not going to happen, in my view. Now, I don't think that's pessimism, I think it's realism. Meanwhile, you can move into love, wisdom, more and more and more every day. You can. And when you do, you'll feel better, even though the neighborhood is burning down. Now, we live in this world of suffering and darkness and confusion. We chose to be here. And it's nobody's fault. So certainly don't blame yourself. And if we feel judgment and hatred and anger, okay, but don't get stuck there. Because we don't want to be angry people or grieving, miserable, self-pitying people. We don't have to be. We don't have to be. These are all impermanent, conditioned states of mind, and they can all fall away so long as we don't grasp onto them and make a long story, actually. But we also need to make changes in our life and keep moving towards what we know is good for us, and really rejecting what seems not good for us. And we make mistakes, okay. We can apologize and we can try to rectify. But if you want happiness, make good karma. If you want happiness, this is the key. If you want happiness, this is the key. Anahata is the key to happiness. And you can't get it from anyone else. And you can go to the yoga retreat, and you can go to the healer, and you can go to Bali, and still be an angry person. And you can go to hell and be Yeshua. Okay? So the place doesn't make the mind, you make your mind. If you want to change your life, change your mind. And you can do it. You just have to set in motion the causes of happiness. And the causes of happiness ultimately is unconditional acceptance and love and non-fighting and non-control and moving through all the distorted states of mind that arise. So anyway, thank you so much for tonight. I appreciate it very much. So I'll be in Bali for a few weeks. It's not planned how long. I'm available. I do personal sessions. I've been doing counseling 25 years. It's about 1990. So I'm available for personal sessions. We're also planning to have a few more groups. And the groups will be, small group, whoever comes. And a lot of it will be Q&A. And we can focus on healing and balance, healing and moving through karma and wounding, pain in mind. We can talk about meditation. What's Buddhist meditation? Do you know? Or we can talk about UFO ET and wonders, many things. So, thanks again. And I guess come up with mention something now.
Sure. Let's give it one more time for Scott. Thank you. Yeah, so really short. We will be having some more smaller group sessions coming up. So if you're interested, just let me know. I'll put your name down. And if you want to contact for a personal session, let me know. We can schedule something. I'll get in contact with him in terms to coordinate the time. And then for the smaller sessions, then it'll be, I'll let you know what's up, and then you will have an option. Well, Thursday.
Next Thursday.
Thursday.
Oh, we are. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be. I have my own time too, So
yeah. So
I mean, I can go anywhere, right? I have mouth will travel. So, invite me. I'll talk for my food, for my dinner. So, right. But if you want to make a plan, I can do anything, and I'm available almost always. But I have to sleep at night. So.
Lunchtime and.
Oh yes, and I have business cards. Let me give my business card. My card.
And his outdated website is Scott Mandelker's. Not outdated, not updated.
It's just
all the information is still part of it.
1990s program.
It's old school, so all like fluorescent.